They said it was like 15 gunshots.
Like back to back.
Yeah, you're like boom, 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 you can tell that. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. You can tell when nobody shoot back. You can tell them like one time.
This is a lost soul. Like, ain't no way. This is a lost soul. Ain't no way. This is why I'm watching. I can't stand it. Hello? Hold that I'm recording them because I'm going, this going to be known.
And it was a red car with some guys in it, but they should go right past me.
Okay.
So that's all I saw.
Which way did they go?
That way.
You said it was a red car?
Yeah.
That way,
That
towards
way.
90th and Hartnett?
Yeah.
It began on a cold November afternoon in Cleveland. The kind of day where the wind bites a little harder and the streets feel eerily quiet. But on that particular Sunday, November 5, 2023, that silence was broken in the most devastating way. Gunshots. A child on the pavement. And a community forever changed. What makes this tragedy even more haunting isn't just the violence, it's who pulled the trigger. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. This wasn't a stranger lurking in the dark. This was betrayal. A best friend turning into an executioner. The victim? A 14-year-old boy named Brilan Harges. The shooter? His closest companion, 16-year-old Steven Sopco. This is a story of trust shattered, innocence lost, and a city's desperate cry for justice. Brilan Harges wasn't a name you saw in headlines, until it was too late. He was, in many ways, just a kid. But to those who knew him, he was the heartbeat of their home. Full of energy.
You just had to get to know him. He loved football, he loved to dance, loved to sing.
The type of child who danced in the kitchen while helping his mom, who stayed up late playing video games with friends, who laughed loudly and loved even louder. At school, he was the boy everyone liked. He played football. He cracked jokes in class. He loved to sing, to move, to dream. At home, his mother Sierra was his rock. A woman who worked multiple jobs to raise her children in a world that didn't make it easy. Brilan often said he'd make it big one day, maybe in the NBA, maybe on YouTube, and when he did, he'd buy his mom a new house, away from the struggle. He had a plan. He had a future. Until someone he trusted took it all away. That someone was Steven Sopco. 2 years older than Brilan, Steven was more than a friend. To many, he was like a big brother. The two were always together, on the court, online, walking to corner stores. They laughed, joked, and confided in each other. Neighbors said they were inseparable. Even Sierra thought Steven was a good kid. Quiet, maybe a little troubled, but respectful. I never thought he'd hurt my baby, she later said. I let him in my house. There were no red flags. No fights. Their last text messages were normal. Jokes. Memes. Plans to meet up. There was no indication that a storm was coming. But some betrayals don't come with warnings. Sometimes, the most dangerous person in your life is the one standing closest to you. That Sunday, around 3 p.m., Brilan and Steven were seen walking down East 90th Street. They had just left Steven's girlfriend's house, a routine stop. The sky was gray, the air sharp. Surveillance cameras captured them walking side by side, just two teens in conversation. Nothing unusual. No tension. No fear. Then, Steven slowed down. He told Brilan to walk ahead. Maybe he said he needed to tie his shoe, maybe check his phone. Whatever the excuse, Brilan didn't hesitate. He trusted Steven. Took a few steps forward. And then, gunfire. 1 shot. 2. 3. Then more. 13 in total. All in the back. Brilan never turned around. Never ran. Never saw it coming. He collapsed on the pavement, gasping for breath. And Steven? He stepped forward and fired one more time, making sure Brilan wouldn't get back up. Then he calmly walked away, as if nothing had happened. The first 911 call came in minutes later. A body in the street. Blood. A witness described seeing a red car speeding off. When officers arrived, what they found shook even the most seasoned among them. A child. Lifeless. Soaked in blood. Still wearing his backpack. The crime scene was surreal. Body cam footage captured stunned silence from officers. One of them finally whispered, "He's just a kid." Sierra got the call from a neighbor.
Did you guys see anything or just hear anything?
I just saw. And it was a red car with some guys in it, but they should roll right past me.
Okay.
So that's all I
Which
saw.
way did they go?
That way.
You said it was a red car?
Yeah.
And they went that way
That
towards
way.
90th and Hartnett?
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of red car?
Because I was so in shock.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you know who was in the vehicle?
It's just two boys in the car. And they wouldn't even stop to talk to me. So I asked them to call the police. They just kept going.
Leaving her son might have been shot. She threw on a nightgown, jumped into her car, and sped to the scene. When she arrived, yellow tape stretched across the street, and flashing lights filled the air. Her son was gone. Just like that. Steven Sopco vanished. Gone without a trace.
They said it was like 15
It's
gunshots.
like back to back. I live way. I'm the
Okay.
recording down there, and
You
I
have your
heard.
ID on you? Just so I can have that information.
I said, I can't believe people can do stuff like that. I just don't understand.
In the hours that followed, rumors spread. Some said he was hiding with relatives. Others thought he had left Cleveland altogether. The neighborhood lived in fear. Brilan's family lived in agony. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. And then, in January 2024, came a tip.
A cold silence masking intentions that still, to this day, remain unexplained.
Car took off. You heard about 15 shots?
I didn't hear no shots.
You didn't hear no
I didn't hear no shots. They heard the shots. When I came, he was just there.
On the ground, laying in the middle?
I kind of knew what it was. It was like,
Okay.
oh, is that a bomb?
And did you say anything to those guys?
No. Oh, yeah. I said, can you call the police? They just kept going.
They just took off on a high rate of speed?
Not a high rate. They just kept going.
Took off? Okay.
As Brilan's family grappled with unimaginable grief,
Neighbor had called me and said my son probably got shot in the one. I don't stay in the neighborhood anymore.
Okay.
We jump in the car, we drive over here. See y'all. We run.
U.S. Marshals surrounded a small apartment just outside the city. Inside, they found Steven. Unarmed. Silent. As if he had been waiting. He was arrested without a fight. No emotion. No apology. Just a 16-year-old boy who had taken a life, and destroyed countless others in the process. The trial began in October 2024. The courtroom was packed. Reporters, activists, neighbors. All of them hungry for answers. Brilan's family sat quietly, clutching tissues and one another. The prosecutors wasted no time. They played the surveillance footage. Frame by frame. The moment Brilan turned his back. The first shots. The final one. The silence between each frame was deafening. There had been no struggle. No warning. It was, as the prosecutor said, a calculated execution. Steven's defense team argued that he had been under stress, had experienced a difficult upbringing, and may have struggled with his mental health. But no explanation could undo what he had done. The jury deliberated for only a few hours. On October 31, 2024, they returned with their verdict, guilty. On all counts, aggravated murder, felonious assault, weapons violations. The judge sentenced Steven Sopco to life in prison, with a chance for parole after 31 years. When the sentence was read, Sierra stood up. In her hands, she held a small urn. Inside were the ashes of her son. She clutched them close, her voice trembling. "This is all I have left of my baby," she whispered. The courtroom fell into a silence more powerful than any speech. There was no victory in that moment. Only grief. Only loss. And a hole in the world where Brilan once stood. Outside the courthouse, the city kept moving. Cars drove by. Phones buzzed.
31 years old.
But
Your
for
sentence
Sierra,
will be
and
life
for everyone who loved Brilan, time had stopped.
with consideration for parole after 31 years.
I'm Brilan Harges' mother. I just want to say thank you, Judge. Thank you. I want to say thank you to the prosecutors, the detectives, and everybody for bringing me justice for my baby. It was a long journey, very long, and I'm still healing. But I brought Brilan with me today to thank you.
But Sierra refused to let that be the end of the story. In the months that followed, she began speaking out, at vigils, city council meetings, schools. She didn't just mourn. She moved. With the help of local organizers, she launched a non-profit in Brilan's name, dedicated to youth mentorship and gun violence prevention. The organization offers group therapy, after-school support, and a safe space for teens to talk, be heard, and be seen. "I want to keep my son's memory alive," she said. "I want to save another child." Her strength became a light in the darkness. A way to turn heartbreak into hope. Brilan's story spread across Cleveland and beyond. Local news ran features. Teachers held classroom discussions. Teens wrote his name on their sneakers. Balloons and candles marked the spot where he fell. He became more than a victim. He became a reason for change. At a memorial service, one of his teachers said, "He was light. He was hope. And we owe it to him not to let that light go out." It was never just about what happened that day, it was about what it revealed. About how easily a life can be taken. About how deeply a community can hurt. And yet, as the months pass, the world keeps turning. But for Sierra, every birthday, every holiday, every quiet night is a reminder of what she's lost. Brilan's room stays the same. His shoes by the door. His laugh only alive in old videos. Some wounds never heal. Some questions never get answered. But in telling his story, in speaking his name, Sierra hopes to protect other mothers from ever feeling what she now lives with every day. Brilan Harges should be here. Smiling. Dreaming. Growing up. Instead, he became a number in a courtroom. A case file. An urn. But also, a legacy. His story is a reflection of what's broken, but also of what can be rebuilt. Of how even in tragedy, there can be movement. There can be meaning. If Brilan's story moved you, don't let it end here. Share it. Speak about it. Demand better for our kids. Because no mother should ever have to say, "This is all I have left of my baby." And so, the story of Brilan Harges ends not with justice alone, but with a question that echoes far beyond one courtroom. What do we owe our children? What do we owe to a boy who trusted, who laughed, who dreamed, only to be betrayed by someone he called family? In Brilan's name, a mother found strength. A city found courage. And maybe, just maybe, the rest of us can find the will to change. Because Brilan wasn't just another statistic. He was light. He was love. And his story deserves to be remembered, not just with tears, but with action. If his memory stays alive in what we do next, then the life that was taken too soon might still change the world he never got to grow up in.